coming in pretty hard now. Good color on this. It's quite damp this morning, so it'll be a few hours before we get going. But Dad did a test swipe yesterday. Not in this field, in a different field. He did durum. This one's wheat. And it was 16.5, I think is what he said. And that was at middle of the afternoon sometime. It was 34 degrees yesterday, so that should have brought things down a bit. But yeah, we'll more than likely be going today. So we just got to move some pieces around the yard and be ready. Well, we got a few things on the go right now. So we're getting things organized here. There's freaking purple martins everywhere, which is a good thing, I guess, because they eat a lot of mosquitoes. Not that we've had a ton this year. So sent Zach with the Volvo and the new grain trailer to Precision to get an empty weight, and then we'll get a full load on the cart, dump it in there. We'll calibrate the cart against the scale. Usually we're showing about 2% low on the cart, which is good. It's better than 2% high. 2% low means we can have high dockage. We don't normally have high dockage, but we would still be able to sell on paper what, like that amount, not go, okay, well, we got 400 tons, but we got to take off 8 tons because of dockage. The plan is, I think we're going to put in these 2 bins, just to start out, we'll put some durum. Should get 7,500-ish bushel in there. I think they're about 3,800 a piece with wheat, is the number that pops into my head. They have air, so we'll put them on air for a couple of days. And then one morning we'll move it probably over to those 2 bins. And that's going to be our durum seed for next year. I don't know if we're going to have wheat seed next year. The stuff we have for wheat seed, we can't really keep. This is 2nd generation varietal blend. So last year we tried out, I can't remember how much Dad bought, 300 acres worth, maybe a little more. Well, we've got, everything's out in the field right now. New semi, new to us semi, new trailer. So we got my new Volvo, Dad's new, it's an Emerald grain trailer, hadn't really heard of them, but it's in really good shape. My Freightliner, the Tempty, the Delta Track, it's a Brent grain cart, 2 case combines, and Zach is coming with the Versatile high-speed disc and the 2375 Versatile. And then I got my Dodge. So we got a lot of equipment in a really small area right here. Dad did kind of a swipe up and he went over, there's a water run, be 100 yards or so up there, and he went onto the other side there. There's some high ground and it really sheds the water, so it tends to be ready earlier. So I think we're gonna play around there after lunch. It's just nicely, you can still see there's a bit of cloud cover. Just in the last 45 minutes the sun's came out. And you know, it's just a nice little breeze, so gonna give things another hour or so to dry down. After lunch we'll have to set our contour buddies and check the combine settings in this one. I think Dad wants to lift or like increase the height of contour buddies on that one, and just make sure everything's working, take our time. Maybe we'll throw some pans, see what kind of losses we're getting. Check out our durum. It looks decent, not spectacular, but decent. I just leave it for now. Well, I think if I look at Dad, he's kind of playing with some settings. I'm going to play with some settings. Zach is somewhere behind us with the grain cart. And we're just going to dabble for a little bit before we call in the other boys, just in case there's something rears its ugly head. But this chunk over here really sheds water, so it always seems to dry out a little faster. And here we go. I don't trust the moisture meter. Give it a minute for the yield monitor to get up there. Oh, that's a bad sound already. Well, not really sure why she just banged up there at the beginning, but I've done 3 passes since and it seems to be fine. Figure it's this, like I said, this, I don't know if it's lighter land or it just doesn't hang on to the water here. It's kind of averaging close to that 45 to 50. As we go south, it'll be better. So, you know, hey, if we get a 50 field average, well, you know, that's disappointing. But even up here, we're seeing spots that are hitting 60. So I'd be a lot happier with 60 than I would be 50. Obviously, was really hoping for 70, but you know, we started the year great, and then we had 3 weeks of just 35-degree heat non-stop in July. And that just really fizzled things out. A lot of thin looking seeds. We'll grab our first pan of the year. And let's see how good our combine settings are. First test was 3/4 of a bushel of Voss. That's a pretty good start. Jesus, that scared the hell out of me. All right, end of day 1. I did a lot of running around and hauled some grain to the farm. Drove the tractor for a bit, threw a bunch of pans, and we seem to have things moving pretty good. I did, according to this, 39.6 acres. So that gives a, I don't know how much I believe that, but it gets the same info from the Case computer. Well, we'll see what it says. 38.23. Very similar numbers between the two of them. The climate field view is saying it's averaging 50.2 and 51.0 on the Case. If you look at the field here. Checking out the field. It started out kind of lean at the top end, This is the north. And then just as we kept on working our way south, you can see there's strips where Dad did. And, you know, he probably did twice as much as I did today. But we're cutting around. There's a bunch here and a bunch over here that we didn't even address. Just, it's heavier. And you can kind of see once we got off this hilltop that I said sheds all the water, you're starting to see more and more. You know, you go from up here where you're rarely seeing a light green mark, it's a lot of yellow, bit of red. You know, a lot of yellow, starting to see some more green. All of a sudden we're starting to see a lot more green and some real dark green. So in the last 2 hours, not even 2 hours, probably hour and 30 minutes, the field average increased. And like this guy, I don't know if it's fully calibrated, but I can guarantee it's not actually. So that's something I didn't do today. I was going to do and then forgot. But I can tell you the trend is on the up, which is good. And significantly, because, you know, I started out with 10, 12 acres there. That wasn't all that good, to be honest. And when I first started, or I shouldn't say first started, when I finished off up here, I think it was saying 39 was the field average. By the time I was done this piece, it was saying 44. And after this, it's already up to 50.2. So we're looking, you know, where there's moisture, it's looking kind of promising. All in all, a successful day one. No breakdowns, no serious issues.